I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Something's happening. I'm not the Jedi I should be. I want more. And I know I shouldn't.
You were planning on developing Star Wars Episode 7 before you sold Lucasfilm.
The ones that I sold to Disney and everything, they came up to the decision that they didn't really want to do those, so they made up their own. So it's not the ones that I originally wrote. It's not the ones that I originally wrote. It's not the ones that I originally wrote. They looked at the stories and they said, we want to make something for the fans. So I said, all I want to do is tell a story of what happened. You know, it started here and it went there, and it's all about generations, and it's about, you know, the issues of fathers and sons and grandfathers, and it's a family soap opera. They decided they didn't want to use those stories. They decided they were going to go do their own thing, so I decided, fine. But basically, I'm not going to try to... They weren't that keen to have me involved anyway, but I've kind of lost control of Star Wars, so it's going off in a different path than what I intended.
What's up, guys? It's Big Bobby the Boss. This is the part 2 of the Star Wars story, the original story that was supposed to happen for the rise of Skywalker. Skywalker. I don't know why I do that. It's just kind of funny, like you know, the Palpatine stuff. They probably would have had one of the most viral freaking movies, but I do not know what they did to that movie, but it's probably one of the most difficult movies to watch as far as all the Disney Star Wars movies. And as I told y'all before in my previous videos, I am really deep in the mix with a lot of different people, and I know a lot of behind the scenes information, sources to stuff that's not supposed to get out. So I'm only going to tell y'all so much of the story just to kind of like protect my source. I'm probably not actually doing a great job of that, but they don't really give a fuck at this point. You know, because they're trying to like save Star Wars or whatever and all of this stuff. So I won't really give out all the full information, but this is going to be going out, and I'm pretty sure that this is probably going to hit a bunch of blogs. A lot of y'all don't know is that there is a secret movie. It's not a complete movie. It's like a halfway finished without the computer graphics. Is some of it's missing or whatever, right? And only a certain amount of people seen this cut of the movie, okay? And a lot of people were behind the scenes were fighting, arguing, were really upset, especially like the people that were like really for making money with Star Wars. And like, I understand that Kathleen Kennedy wasn't really with, you know, Mark Hamill, or had a grudge against the Skywalkers. There was some real behind the scenes history between Mark Hamill and Kathleen Kennedy that Kathleen Kennedy was not messing with. Some real personal stuff. I do not know the full story, but I know that she had a grudge against Mark Hamill.
I'm just going to break in here and make sure that everybody out there realizes he is so significantly important to this next film. You have no idea.
Well, that's good to hear.
Mr. Modesty.
I probably won't do a video because I don't, you know, allegedly. Let's just say allegedly that there might be a grudge.
Well, that's good to hear.
Mr. Modesty.
Original story of the Skywalker, y'all.
And the truth.
Anakin Skywalker was supposed to read back a pair. And, you know, as the Force goes and everything, right? And he was going to be trying to build his relationship back with Princess Leia as the Force goes, and, you know, talking to her. She was going to completely reject him, not talk to him. I don't know how they were going to do that, seeing how she had passed away. But she was supposed to reject him and like not really, and kind of ignore him. And he was going to be talking to Rey, going back and forth, giving her advice, saying like some magnificent stuff, like something along the lines of like life is hard, and you know, and then you learn and you keep going. But it was like some real epic, legendary Star Wars wise advice or whatever. And then Luke Skywalker was going to be in there as a Force Ghost as well, trolling Kylo Ren the whole time, following him around and telling him that, you know, basically that he's still good or whatever and all that good stuff, which really he could have did that alive, which going to be following him around and being like, oh yeah, you're messing up on this, I know you're still good. But really just kind of like picking on him and trolling him. I guess they end up deciding not to put that in there because there was no information, because people start picking on lore and stuff, and there was no real information saying that somebody who's gone to Sith is able to see Force ghosts. You know, apparently if you go to the Sith, you're not, I wouldn't say not necessarily capable of seeing a Force ghost, but you know, but then again, I don't know. Like, so you have to do something to be able to see a Force ghost. I don't really know. Go ask Star Wars Theory. He'll be able to tell you more information on that. I don't really know that stuff. It's going to be a thing where Anakin is constantly appearing, talking to different people. There was going to be a moment when Anakin and Luke were going to talk to each other, and it was so emotional. It was going to be one of the most emotional things you ever seen. Even though they're like Force ghosts, they're having conversations, his father and son talking to each other. It was just so heartwarming. This is the part where you're gonna get mad though. Gets towards the end of the movie, right? It's supposed to be like this giant head dude or something like that. Kylo Ren ends up killing, and you know, he taught Snoke or like wherever the heck, I don't know. It was some other stuff where it was just kind of weird. And the Knights of Ren.
Knights of Ren.
We're gonna have a more standout moment in the movie as well. They're gonna be more present than what they wore, but they end up cutting a lot of stuff. There's a whole bunch of, and this is, by the way, everything I'm telling you is in a movie. This is in a secret vault movie that they did not release, that nobody is allowed to see. And really, to be honest with you, I'm talking about it because they should probably release it to save Star Wars. Because if they released it, it will save Star Wars. This is the part where you're gonna get really, really pissed off. Palpatine is basically, you know, sucking the life force from Rey and Kylo Ren, you know. Instead of him healing, he ends up almost killing them. Like, now and you know how you heard in the current movie, you hear all the voices like talking and saying stuff to them, whatever. Not only do you hear the voices, you see all the Force ghosts around, which also had Mace Windu in there as well. But all these Force ghosts are around them, seeing them die. Oh, and Anakin's very upset. And he's like, we have to do something. And Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we cannot intervene as a Force ghost or whatever reasons, you know, that they for noble Jedi stuff. Senator Palpatine, or Emperor, whatever freaking name he wants to go by, he's sucking the life out of them, right? And they're pretty much starting to kind of turn old. They start looking like the little old things from The Little Mermaid when Ariel started, you know, getting the life sucked out of her, and she turned to that little skinny old thing. So
Your Majesty.
Daddy? At last.
They started like aging and everything. But what happens is that the Emperor starts getting hella young. And there's this actor named Smith something like, but he played one of the Doctor Who's or whatever, right? And he also played in Morpheus. I cannot remember his name. His last name's Smith. Ends up being young Palpatine, right? So he's young, he's youthful. He says something along the lines that's similar to when he was about to kill Luke Skywalker, right?
Now, young Skywalker, you will die.
Right? And he says, now you will die. Some shit like that along the lines of that or whatever. He's sucking the life force out of them. And then all of a sudden, Anakin's like, he's like, we have to do something. Like, we have to stop. Like, and all the other Force goes, we can't do nothing. And then he sees that they're about to die, and he yells out, no! And he puts his hand in front of the little, like, you know, power thing with the Force or whatever that's going on. And he's like basically stopping it. He ends up coming back to life I kid you not. He ends up coming back to life. Palpatine ends up aging just a little bit older than what he is, and you can kind of see that he's aging a little bit. But it's not like old. He's like, he goes from like teenager to like mid-20s, late 20s or something, or maybe early 30s. Anakin comes back to life. He picks up his old lightsaber. He picks up his old lightsaber that's on the ground. And then they have almost 40-minute lightsaber battle to the death. All right, it is some of the most amazing shit that is freaking amazing. They go back and forth, the lightsaber battle to the death, going back and forth. Anakin ends up killing the Emperor, fulfilling the prophecy that he is the chosen one to like basically bring balance to the Force. So what young Palpatine ends up dying. Kylo Ren ends up dying. He sacrifices himself for Rey, which is, you know, that's basically still like the same. He like puts his hand over her and like sucks whatever hell happened to her. Basically, he sacrifices himself to her and like also quote unquote put a baby in her. That's another thing that they were deciding on whether or not they should do or not. It's supposed to be implied that he also impregnated her with the Force, which is a repeat of what happened with Anakin Skywalker. Now everything's just very perplexed. They have a sad funeral for Kylo Ren. Some people were conflicted because, you know, this is the evil guy, and then other people are just kind of just there to support. Anakin is just there, just like throughout the movie, just there silent, doesn't know what to talk. He's just in shock, like, how could this be? Like, how am I still here? And he's just really confused. He's kind of asking questions, but he's not really talking. He's just kind of staying to himself. End of the movie, Rey ends up going to the old house in Tatooine. Anakin walks out of the house, looks at Rey, and then they just stare at each other while the two sons are in the background. Star Wars music starts playing, and it just goes back and forth, panning back and forth to Rey and Anakin Skywalker, and the Star Wars music starts playing. You have no idea what the hell is happening, and you're like, what the hell just happened? So that's the original plans they do not want you to know about, which there is actually a movie with all that stuff out there. Only so many people got to see this movie, okay? Only like personal execs, and there was a whole argument and fight about this movie because that was the original movie, but they cut a lot of stuff. I don't know if it was Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know who the hell made the decision not to put this out, but a lot of it probably had to do with the fact that of the complications of there was no plans to bring Anakin back to life. No plans whatsoever. It was just like a last minute thing that decided to do, and it was not in any plans at all whatsoever. It was a last minute ditch effort to save the Star Wars franchise, The Last Jedi. And also, if you go look it up, you can see for yourself, the fifth dude that played the Doctor Who person was rumored to play actually young Palpatine. And it was also rumored that Anakin was going to be in, or the guy that plays Anakin Skywalker or whatever was going to be in the movie. Y'all can look it up for yourself. This would have saved Star Wars. They didn't put it in there. And there's a couple of details that I left out because I don't want to really give out too much information because it will lead back to somebody that I don't want to get back to or whatever. But I hope y'all enjoyed this informational story. I'm pretty sure this one's probably gonna go viral. You heard it from Big Bobby the Boss. Have fun going to war, saying whether or not this is true, or speak. Some of y'all are probably gonna absolutely talk to your sources and try to find out the truth behind this or whatever. You'll be pleasantly surprised. But anyway, though, I am about to head out. I just wanted to make sure I shared that bit of information with y'all, and that is the original Rise of Skywalker. Oh, and also another thing, the reason why it was called the Rise of Skywalker was because Anakin Skywalker was supposed to come back.
He could actually save people from death. Is it possible to learn this power?
So that's the reason why it's the Rise of Skywalker. It's the Rise of Skywalker because Anakin rises up from the dead.
You underestimate my power.
Comes back to kill young Palpatine. for some reason, they cut everything out, kept the name, decided to make Rey Skywalker, which did not make a lick of sense. That's what happened. That's what we got. How mind blown would you have been to see Anakin Skywalker back? Our movies would be like way better. We would have another movie by now, that's for sure. I had conversations also about if they were going to have Rey dating Anakin and if he was going to end up being like her baby daddy, which is kind of along the lines of what Star Wars has always been, which is kind of weird incest stuff where like Princess Leia and Luke Skywalker are kissing each other. I get that they did not know that they were brother and sister, but that did happen. There was a couple other things that were questionable. Yeah, that's kind of what was going to end up happening, where I don't know, but they were conversating about, oh, if we go in this direction, do we have Anakin be the baby daddy, have a relationship and they have a connection, or do we just have him as a master that's like training them, and do we just have Rey and Finn together? Because the real plans was for Rey and Finn to be together before Princess Leia died, you know, and there was going to be a love triangle. Oh, I totally forgot to say it in my other video, but there was going to be a whole love triangle between Rey, Finn, and Poe. Yeah, like, and then Poe dies in the movie. I don't know why they killed him off or whatever. That's probably another reason why they changed so many different things. Anyway, though, so like, yeah, that is the original story. That's not everything, but that's probably the most juiciest stuff that was in there. And there is some stuff that's already on the internet that I didn't want to really go into about the son of Mortis being one of the original evil big bads implemented into the movies, and he was supposed to be mixed in somehow or whatever, but they never actually put him fully on film. It was just more or less like his voice and his presence. Young Palpatine is on film. Anakin Skywalker fighting young Palpatine and coming back as a Force Ghost, that is on a film that they have locked up somewhere that they're not going to share. So with that being said, thank y'all so much. I am outie. Big Bobby the Boss out.